Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. The federal courthouse in Manhattan had witnessed many emotional moments during the Sean Diddy Combs trial, but nothing had prepared anyone for the sight of Justin Bieber walking through the courtroom doors on Wednesday morning. The 30-year-old superstar, who had largely retreated from public life in recent years, appeared fragile yet determined as he made his way to the witness stand. Gone was the confident pop star persona that had defined his public image for over a decade. Instead, Justin wore a simple navy sweater jeans and a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. His hands trembled slightly as he removed the cap and placed it on the ledge beside him. When he looked up, his eyes were already glistening with unshed tears. Judge Elizabeth Martinez observed him with evident concern. "Mr. Bieber, take your time. Are you comfortable proceeding with your testimony today?" Justin nodded, his voice barely audible. "Yes, Your Honor. I need to do this." Prosecutor Rachel Stevens approached with gentle respect, understanding the gravity of having someone who had been in the public eye since childhood on the stand. "Mr. Bieber, could you please tell the court how you first came to know Sean Combs?" Justin took a shaky breath. I was just a kid, 13 years old when I first met Sean. It was 2007, right after Baby started getting attention on YouTube. Everyone in the industry was talking about this kid from Canada, and Sean reached out through my management team. "What was your initial impression of Mr. Combs?" He was like meeting a king." Justin's voice wavered slightly. "Sean Combs was everything I thought success looked like. The mansion, the cars, the parties, the respect from everyone in the room. When he told me he wanted to mentor me, I felt like I'd won the lottery." "Can you describe the nature of this mentorship?" Justin wiped his eyes with a tissue. "At first, it was everything you'd expect. Sean would invite me to industry events, introduce me to important people, give me advice about the music business. He called me his little brother and said he was going to teach me how to become a real man in the industry." "When did this relationship begin to change?" "Gradually, it started when I turned 15. Sean began inviting me to what he called men's gatherings parties that he said were where the real business got done. He told my team that these were necessary for my career development, that I needed to understand how the industry really worked." "Did you attend these gatherings?" "Yes, and I wish." Justin broke down completely, his shoulders shaking with sobs. The courtroom fell silent except for the sound of his crying. Judge Martinez called for a brief recess to allow him to compose himself. When proceedings resumed, Justin appeared more determined, despite his emotional state. "I attended these parties because Sean convinced me and everyone around me that they were essential for my career. But they weren't industry networking events. They were something else entirely." "Can you describe what you witnessed at these gatherings?" "The parties always started normal: music, food, celebrities, industry, people networking. But around midnight, Sean would announce that the real party was starting, and most of the crowd would leave. Only select people were invited to stay." "What happened during these real parties?" Justin looked down at his hands. "Phones were collected, NDAs were passed around and signed, and then activities began that a 15-year-old should never have witnessed, let alone been pressured to participate in." "Courtroom. Were you pressured to participate in inappropriate activities, Mr. Bieber?" Sean had a way of making everything seem normal, like it was just part of growing up in the industry. He would say things like, "This is how men bond in this business," or, "You want to be taken seriously, don't you, little bro?" The prosecutor approached more closely. "Mr. Bieber, I know this is difficult, but can you be more specific about what Mr. Combs expected from you?" Justin closed his eyes for a moment, gathering strength. "He expected me to be grateful for his attention. He expected me to prove my loyalty. And as I got older, those expectations became more explicit. Sean made it clear that my continued success in the industry depended on maintaining our special relationship." "How did this affect you personally?" "It destroyed my understanding of normal relationships, of boundaries, of trust. I was a kid who just wanted to make music, and I got trapped in a world where my body, my privacy, my innocence were treated as currency for career advancement." "Did you ever try to distance yourself from Mr. Combs?" "I tried, but Sean made it very difficult. He had contracts with my label. He had relationships with everyone who mattered in my career. When I started pulling away around age 17, suddenly radio stations stopped playing my music as much opportunities dried up, and Sean would call my management asking why I was being ungrateful. What kept you connected to him despite your discomfort? Justin looked directly at the jury. Fear. Sean had footage photos recordings from those parties. He never explicitly threatened to release them, but he made sure I knew they existed. He would make casual comments like, "Remember that night when you were still figuring yourself out? Good thing we're family, right? When did you finally break free from Mr. Combs' influence?" When I met Haley, having someone in my life who loved me unconditionally, who helped me understand that what I had experienced wasn't normal or acceptable, that gave me the strength to finally say no. How did Mr. Combs react when you established these boundaries? He was furious. He called Haley and me together and told us that I was making a mistake, that I would regret burning bridges with family. He said the industry had a long memory and that artists who forgot where they came from usually found themselves forgotten. Did he follow through on these threats? Projects I was attached to mysteriously fell through. Collaborations that seemed confirmed would suddenly be canceled. It took years and a lot of personal growth for me to rebuild my career on my own terms. The prosecutor paused, allowing the weight of Justin's testimony to settle over the courtroom. "Mr. Bieber, why are you sharing this now?" Justin wiped fresh tears from his eyes. "Because I've spent years in therapy trying to heal from what happened to me. And I realized that staying silent was allowing Sean to continue hurting other young artists. When I saw Cassie's courage in coming forward, I knew I couldn't stay quiet anymore." What do you want people to understand about your experience? I want people to understand that being famous doesn't protect you from predators. Sometimes it makes you more vulnerable. I was a child who trusted an adult who claimed to care about me. What happened to me wasn't mentorship or industry education. It was exploitation, and it's been affecting my mental health, my relationships, and my ability to trust people ever since. During cross-examination, defense attorney Thomas Reynolds attempted to discredit Justin's testimony, but his approach backfired spectacularly. "Mr. Bieber, you've struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues over the years, correct?" "Yes, and a lot of that stems from trying to cope with the trauma of what Sean did to me when I was a minor. Isn't it possible that your recollection of events has been influenced by these personal struggles?" Justin's voice grew stronger. "Sir, what happened to me is burned into my memory. You don't forget the moment your childhood ends. You don't forget the people who stole it from you. You've made considerable amounts of money in the industry that Mr. Combs helped introduce you to. Doesn't that suggest the relationship was beneficial? Money doesn't heal trauma. Success doesn't undo abuse. And suggesting that being victimized was worth it because I became famous is exactly the kind of thinking that allows predators like Sean to continue operating." The defense attorney, realizing his approach was only strengthening Justin's credibility, quickly concluded his questioning. As Justin prepared to step down from the witness stand, he asked if he could make a statement to other potential victims. Judge Martinez granted permission. "To any young artist watching this, or anyone who has been in a situation like mine, what happened to you wasn't your fault. The adults who should have protected you failed. The industry that should have safeguarded you prioritized profit over your well-being. But your voice matters, your truth matters. And speaking up, even when it's terrifying, is how we stop this from happening to others." He looked directly at Diddy for the first time during his testimony. "Sean, you stole my childhood and my innocence. You made me believe that exploitation was mentorship and that abuse was love. But I survived, I healed, and now the whole world knows exactly who you really are." As Justin left the courtroom, he was followed by complete silence. Even the usually bustling gallery of reporters and observers seemed stunned by the raw honesty and pain in his testimony. Outside the courthouse, Justin released a written statement through his attorney. "Today was one of the hardest days of my life, but also one of the most important. I hope my testimony helps bring justice, not just for me, but for all the young artists who have suffered in silence. We deserve better, and the industry must do better." The impact of Justin's testimony was immediate and far-reaching. Within hours, 3 major talent agencies announced new protocols for protecting minor clients, and several prominent artists posted messages of support using hashtags like Reassure Justin Spoke for Use and Protect Young Artists. More significantly, the Children's Rights Coalition announced they would be launching a formal investigation into industry practices regarding minors, citing Justin's testimony as evidence of systemic failures to protect young talent. That evening, Hailey Bieber posted a simple message on social media. "So proud of my husband's courage today. His truth will help protect other children from experiencing what he endured. That's his legacy, not the pain, but the healing he's creating for others." In the days following his testimony, two more former child stars contacted the prosecution, offering to share similar experiences with powerful industry figures. The wall of silence that had protected predators in the entertainment industry was finally beginning to crumble, one brave voice at a time. Disclaimer: the content above is entirely fictional and created for entertainment purposes only. No verified court evidence or official statements confirm these claims.